Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Gulfstream Park, and welcome to Gulfstream today. Ron Nicoletti, along with Brian Netto. We're going to start today. Boy, it's windy in South Florida, but we got a fast main track firm turf course, and you can see those palm trees swaying in the air. We got some pretty good wind going here. I think the gust that Dennis looked it up was 18 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour. So we'll see how that affects, if it does indeed affect the racing today.
Yeah, without a doubt. Other than that, it's a beautiful day, though, here in South Florida. We're fast, we're firm. We love to hear that, obviously. We've got the all-weather Tapeta, and we've got a solid 9-race card as well with $100,000 and growing in that Rainbow.
Yeah, Rainbow Six is starting race number 4 this afternoon, $100,000 jackpot guarantee. We did have a horse going into the last couple of horse. The one horse actually was single yesterday, had a chance to take it down, didn't come to fruition. So we got that $100,000 gross jackpot guarantee. First race today. Always love starting the day on the turf. It's a 5-furlong turf sprint, and I know Brian put together an early pick 5 ticket.
I did $24 is the play here in the early 5. We'll get to the opener in a second. In race number 2, the 2-year-old dash, 3-4 in order. Preacher Ramos and Pachanga Loca with a nice pedigree for Fausto Gutierrez has started so hot in the Royal Palm meet. 2, 4, 6. The actual order is the 4 on top, Federal Exchange. The single comes in race 4. That's my best bet of the day. Make no mistake. And then the spread in race 5. Noble Indy is the long shot play of the day. And we'll see what that seems like a long shot race. I don't know. Did you go in there with your long shot?
I did not go in there with my long shot, but I did almost make that one horse you mentioned, my long shot today. Got it as my 4th pick in here. Getting back to race number 1, it's 5 furlongs on the firm turf course. Maiden special weight, 3-year-olds and up with no scratches or jockey changes to let you know about. And we're starting the day with a 1-9 shot early in the wagering, and that's Miss Sakamoto, who's wheeling back and facing the boys this afternoon. After finishing a willing second, beating less than a length at this level and distance on the grass for Christophe Clement. Junior Alvarado atop this $250,000 daughter than more than ready. Brian, does it bother you that she's facing the boys today?
No, not really. I think that, personally, I think that's a little overrated a little bit. She's even going to get some weight as a result of that, so that's not a bad thing either. And, that Clement guy's all right, so I kind of trust where he's putting his horses, you know what I mean? So, yeah, go ahead.
No, I think you have a stat.
Yeah, we do. We've got one to take a look at here, and, I tongue-in-cheek joke that he's all right, and, Christophe's about 20%, with basically everything he does, but you step it up a little bit here. Turf sprints right here at Gulfstream the past 3 years, 12 for 40, 30% with a $1.88 ROI, which is pretty impressive too, because obviously it's a barn that runs a lot of well-bred horses that get bet. And I think Miss Sakamoto, she's not 1-9. Let's bet a little crazy here. We're very early in the betting. Yeah. She's in a good spot here though.
The number 7, S. Muffin, beating the nose in the only previous race sprinting on the turf, is going back to the grass. He showed some speed and faded in that rate in a pair of sprints going longer on the dirt. Boy, how good is Ken Sweezy been going? You get Miguel Vasquez. This is the only 4-year-old in the field.
Yeah, there's a lot to like here. That's one of the reasons what Ronnie's mentioning there is the 3-year-olds are now running against the 4-year-olds, and we're talking April 22nd. I do think that's it's a disadvantage to be a 3-year-old. The 4-year-olds are more mature, bigger and stronger. So as we get towards the summer, a little different story. Right now, I think it's an edge. We're perfectly drawn outside too. You mentioned Kent is just off to a white-hot start at the Royal Palm meet, and look at that debut, Ronnie, on the turf, albeit in October of 2020. Very, very sharp effort.
The horse, well, we have the same chart. The horse we both have at third, Southern Breeze, is making his first start since coming within 3/4 of a length. We're going to go back and show you this. He almost sprang the 31-1 upset in the $75,000 Hollywood Beach here last September. But I want you to watch this horse's stretch run in here. Of course, that day is the number 6, Southern Breeze. And I just thought this horse ran well, ducked to the inside right now, and I thought ran exceptionally well in this race. Now, it's been a while, sort of got sawed off there a little bit, had to come back out a little, and just didn't have that trip, but fought on bravely. And you're going to see this coming almost with a blanket finish at the wire for the 3 horses, 31-1 in there. It's a son of Air Force Blue, and he has Albito handling the sophomore debut.
Yeah, the where you been is a problem, and the rail is too. Otherwise, I probably would have moved this horse up. I think the Lasix is going to help him. I'm not, that race is kind of tricky. Nerve, you and I liked him the other day. Boy, he didn't run an inch the other day. So I'm not, sure how good that race race was, but he ran very, very well. It's his only turf start to look at, and he's just going to have to work out a trip from the rail. To me, let's watch one today, and we'll get on Southern Breeze maybe next time.
And if I remember right, Albito was the leading rider in Venezuela before coming here to the United States this year and riding some horses. We're going to go with the 2-year-olds, which is always great here at Gulfstream Park. And this is 4.5 furlong maiden special weight 2-year-olds. Please note the 5 Free Soul is a gelding trained by Carlos Munoz. I went to the inside. I'll start it off here with Kohaku, I think it is, Kohaku, a son of first due debuting for trainer Jorge Delgado, was a strong 34% win average with his freshman runners, working well locally. The concern always is with these first-time starters, they're demanding inside post.
That's the problem, right? 6 full out of the dam, the other 5, not too much. The dam herself was unraced. You know, it's Jorge Delgado and Chantel. They do so well together, 22%, but she's going to have to break alertly down there because, you run the risk of getting shuffled back, and if that's the case, it's going to be a long day at the office. But the works here, there's a couple that stick out. Certainly the 2 at the end of March really do. And maybe this horse can run a little bit. As we always say in these 2-year-old races, you got to watch the board. Just pay attention to it. I look over to my left right now, and the 2 and the 4 seem like they might be favored in the doubles.
Yeah, they're right there. And then the outside horse, the number 7, taking some money in here, too. So here's the thing. We're going to go to the 7 horse in here. By the way, that horse trained by your horse trained by Mike Yates this afternoon. Mike had a 2-year-old winner yesterday.
Yeah, the other. Well, I don't know if it was the other one because they did bet the one. They bet the other one, and again, the board kind of told you who was going to be live there. There were a couple well-bred horses yesterday that we really thought might get heavily bet, and they were kind of icy on the board. So take note of that. But I'll come back to Mike Yates. Second full out of the dam here, Preacher Amos. The dam was 4 for 15. She broke her maiden in her second start. Wasn't running at the top circuits. But again, it's Mike. I like Angel Arroyo's here. He's a forward rider. We need to break. Don't forget, short finish line, too, in these races. And a couple of these works, especially that 36-3 gate work, pretty snappy.
Yeah, pretty good work there. We'll see. And then Mike does an excellent job. He was 19% going into yesterday. I think he's about 20 now, you would think. So what about the horse that had some experience already, and that's Awesome Flay? Hoping to break trouble for you. If you go back and watch the beginning of this race, this horse was really, edgy in the gate, was really not settled, and they sprung the gate, and I thought this horse ran a good third in its debut at this level and distance. Sandra Slifka is the trainer. You get Leonel Reyes returning on the only previous starter in the field. So I had some interest. We'll see how this, if it comes to fruition, that this horse with that previous experience runs well.
Well, 2 things. First and foremost, experience is huge at this point in time when you're talking about 2-year-old races. The rest of the field has yet to run. Secondly, I always think, Ronnie, especially early in the year, when a 2-year-old makes up some ground, passes horses in a lane, that's a big deal because a lot of times, like the winner that day, remember, caught a flyer at the start, they're off, you lose. You don't learn a lot when that's the scenario. Well, here, Awesome Flay, now 31-1 on debut he was, but boy, he got quite an education out of that race. It's tough to make up ground going this short with the short finish line. You're probably going to get another square price too.
The number 4, Pachanga Loca, I know you haven't. How you mentioned at the top how good is Fausto Gutierrez going so far.
Yeah, we got a stat on Fausto, too, and when he teams up with Miguel Vasquez, he's right there, 5 of 8. It's a small one, but my goodness, the intent seems to be there, and look at the ROI. It's huge. He won one yesterday without Miguel, but, boy, the barn is firing, and this is an interesting runner. The dam was on race, but she was a half to Governor Charlie, who was kind of a hotshot 3-year-old for a little bit. In the female line of this family goes back to Silver Bullet Day, the champion 2 and 3-year-old filly. So there's a lot to like here. The first foal out of this dam, a couple of okay works. Again, you got to tab the tote here, but this one looks like a runner. And I will mention this. This is the lone filly in the field, and typically the 2-year-old fillies are a little more progressive in their foundation and in their maturity at this point of the year.
Well, I love the name of the number 2, Zelinsky Strong. Is a half-brother to multiple stakes winner Jackson. This $40,000 son of a captured debuts for Peter Walder with 5 local workouts showing in preparation for this first start. You get Nemesiel Jaramillo, who's an aggressive rider, and as we mentioned a lot, 4.5 furlongs. It looks like you got to be placed well when you come out of the gate.
Yeah, this is a horse that's bred to be fast and bred to win early. You mentioned Jackson earned almost $500,000 in the Dam 3-for-8 Dam, won a Gulfstream Stakes and won her first and second start. This one could be a little precocious.
Race number 3 this afternoon. We're going 6 furlongs on the fast main track. These are claimers 3 or 4 and old years and old and upward, non-winners of 2 in life, 12-5 down to 10,000. No scratches in this field in here. We'll start it off with your number 4, Federal Exchange. And this one is making his local return for Louis Russell.
Yeah, good to see Mr. Louis back. And we're going to bring up a stat, too, because this is a barn. Since he came to South Florida a couple years ago in the summer, obviously he's in New Orleans in the winter. But look at the stat here. 30 for 99 with a 233 ROI overall at Gulfstream the past 2 years. So Mr. Louis does such a good job, and it's great to see him back here, at least with the horses. I think we'll see him maybe next month, is the rumor, and one of the good guys and a guy that knows how to get these horses ready to fire, and I would expect that Federal Exchange is ready to roll today.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Brian. If you look at this little last trouble line broke out with at the start, he was part of an odds-on coupling with his stablemate Heals the Soul, who I think we know from down here. That was a $30,000 claimer going 5 on the turf. Lou Russell is 2 for 6, also with his horses going from dirt to turf, is which this horse is doing today. We got our exact, the flip-flop. I went with the 2 Spring the Beast, who broke his maiden on the dirt here at this level and distance. Goes back to the main track after stalking throughout that last race, finished second. That was going 5 on the Tapeta for the one, the only David Fawkes, with Jesus Rios handling that surface switch today.
Yeah, and while he ran really, really well on the Tapeta, and it kind of looks like he didn't run that well on the dirt 2 back, that was a very, very fast race for the level. Frolic Man's a horse I like, and I think Spring the Beast is fine getting back to the main track. You mentioned, David does such a good job, and yeah, I think this, I'd like to think we've got the exacta right one way or the other in here.
Then number 6, Gilligan, moves to the Jorge Delgado barn after that claim, cuts back to 6 furlongs on the dirt. He went up, he set the pace and faded. It was, again, similar quality, but that was going a mile 70 yards on the Tapeta. The barn, you know how good they are, 33% or thereabout with new claims, 26% with horses going from a route to a sprint. So the numbers are there. We'll see how this horse runs. Chantal Sutherland in the saddle today.
Yeah, just draw a line through the Tapeta route. That's not his jam, but you look at the main track races, they're pretty good, and now we're in the corner of Jorge Delgado, and we know how good he is.
Well, let's take a short break. Come back. We'll have my, I'm going to tell you right now, $43.20 Rainbow Six ticket.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path. Round off first inside. Race. A quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 yards out. Last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Welcome back, Gulfstream. Today, Ron and Brian. Race number 4 is going to be about 5 furlongs on the Tapeta as starter optional claimer. Let's take a look at my Rainbow Six ticket here, and we'll talk about this 4th race in a moment. Got some coverage in there. Race number 5, you went deep in there. I think large, and boy, that back class comes to fruition. Boy, it's going to be tough. But I use Voodoo Zip and Freedom Matters in there. Race number 6, just too deep in there with Beth Stream and Flying Alita. And then in race number 7, I went too deep again with Democracy and Black Belt. Those are my logical 2. Actually have Democracy on top. And then in race number 8, I think the race goes through the number 6 horse in here, Magniloquent. And you got Paco Lopez atop that daughter of American Pharaoh, but I used Living Water for Rohan Crichton. And we got a stat on that. We'll show you a little later. And then in race number 9, my long shot today is the number 5, Charging Arrow, who's now in the Ronnie Spatz barn. Comes out of a key race up at Tampa Bay, which I will be showing you a little later on. So I think 6-1 in the morning line. Not going to be that big of a long shot, but we'll see how it plays out. Getting back to this fourth race, about 5 furlongs on the Tapeta, the starter optional claimer. Now, these are fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, started for 8 or less, or the optional tag of $16,000. Once again, no scratches or jockey changes to kick off our Rainbow Six with that $100,000 gross jackpot guarantee. And we both started it with the number 6. Make no mistake.
Yeah, we both found this one. Not that hard to find. My best bet of the day in here. And, you know, the race last time for 10 was just a huge, huge effort. And I like the fact that Steve Caceres is now going to move this daughter, Raison d'Etat, into a spot where she can't be claimed. She's well drawn in here, too, and I just think it kind of adds up to her being really, really tough against a group like this. That was also her first start on the Tapeta, too, and she just exploded.
Yeah, Junior Alvarado, a previous winner at the distance with those 2 starts to win in the second. So make no mistake, it looks like the logical one in there. But what about the number 1, Ali Z, who's actually a reclaim by Or Mirage, going to try and make it 2 in a row. We're going to go back and show you this horse's performance. We're going to pick it up at the top of the stretch. This horse that day is the number 2. And you're going to see this one, as you've seen many, many times, got to find a place to go. So this one's going to have to tip out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wide in this race and just closes a ton to win it, gets up, and so they jump back in. They wanted this horse back. They're going to have Alan Marat, and there you see the number 2, Ali Z, just gobbling them up in the stretch, and I thought it was a good performance. We'll see how it plays out. They went a little fast early on, so that set it up for him, but I just thought it was a good take on that horse.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. Normally, I would be a little hesitant with a horse like this because you got to improve off Marty Drexler. Yeah. But as you mentioned, this is a reclaim, and Aubrey did a good job with this horse earlier on in the championship meet. So, is a major, major player. If I had to worry a little bit, it's that Make No Mistake is going to get first run. And I know it worked in that race, but you said they went a little crazy early. It's not necessarily the recipe for success to drop out the back and loop them going 5 on the Tapeta.
The number 5 horse, and you have Phil Maurice is stepping up to competition after following her. She had that 12-5-2 lifetime victory. Comes back, runs second against non-winners at 3. Lifetime foes going 5 on the all-weather. 4, Jose D'Angelo is getting Romero Mirage named to ride this afternoon. So this horse has been just knocking on the door in its next condition.
Yeah, it's Jose, and you're going to get Jose at a price in here, and that's not something that happens too often. She's going to have to step up in class, but she had to do it last time too, and she ran very, very well facing tougher. So you could do worse than landing here.
And what about American Tapper? We have a little further down you knew from Victor Barboza Jr., and this one ridden by Paco Lopez today.
Yeah, I mean, she beat Phil Maurice on the square last time. I mean, I know she got the right flow of the race last time. She had a lot of trouble to boot in that race, though, and she still got it out and won. So she's a player in here, too. But I do think, Alize, and certainly make no mistake, at least on paper, they're a cut above.
And Paco Lopez on multiple win day yesterday, so you can factor in. Really nice 5th race this afternoon if you like betting turf races, because we have some huge back class horses in this race. It's about 7.5 furlongs. It's an allowance optional claimer. 3-year-olds and up, the optional claiming tag is $62,500. You put your late pick 5 ticket together.
I did. This is a great race, as Ronnie said, and here it is here for $32, 4 deep in this race, 42 in race 6. Grand Baby is another price. I could have easily made that one my long shot. Here's the single in race 5, Frolic Man. I knew he was in the card somewhere. Looking for him earlier. 75 in race 8, Barone Sesco on top for Antonio Sano, who we'll talk about a little bit in the lightning round, and then the spread is in the finale. And I got your long shot, too, because we know how good Ronnie Spatz has been doing of late.
Yeah, we'll see how that race plays out. Getting back to this 5th race, about 7.5 furlongs, as I mentioned, allowance optional claimer. But if you look at the number 11 horse in here, Large, and he was beaten only a neck here by his stablemate, Colonel Liam, in the 2021 Pegasus Turf. And I just got to show you this horse's race that day. I thought this horse ran smashing, was the number 6 this afternoon. And, of course, Colonel Liam comes back and wins the Pegasus Turf again. And, boy, Colonel Liam, until the last couple of jumps, on the inside there, see it coming up. I thought the 6 was going to win it that day. And, of course, and here comes Colonel Liam, who gets free at the end. It comes running to get Just Beat It stablemate. Of course, both trained by Todd Pletcher. And that was that race, Largent, the race before, won the Grade 2 Gulfstream Park, I forget what
Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale won the Grade 2 Fort Lauderdale before that. Now, things are not the same now. This one was only beaten neck, as we showed you. It failed to hit the board in the Grade 3 Fairgrounds. But this horse is the old horse for course angle, 4 for 7 on this turf course.
He is, but, in Largent's form, 2021 looked like about 15 years ago to me. He hasn't been too good in his 2 starts this year. Yes, they were against tons better. I readily admit that. So now maybe he's dropping in for a confidence boost. Ronnie mentioned he's 4 for 7 here over our turf course. We have to mention, though, you can't make up as how bad this post is.
Yeah,
it's such a problem.
It's such a tough post. It's a gelding, so you're saying, why is this horse running? That's what he's meant to do, is run here.
No,
And, favorite course, so he's got to deal with that outside post. And it actually was only the scratches of the also eligible entries. You did go with the number 1, Noble Indy, who had, as I mentioned, had a little further down on my ticket. Almost made this one the long shot today from Gustavo Delgado.
I mean, I thought this horse ran huge in the Canadian 2-back when he made first run into a wild pace, and he still held pretty well. Phantom Currency got loose in that race last time, and he's just full of class for Brian Lynch. So Noble Indy, back in the day, obviously a day was a long time ago, he was a nice horse for Todd Pletcher and Mike Rapoli. He seems to have found himself a little bit of late off the Gustavo claim. He's well drawn. He's going to be close throughout. And, if you're against Largent, and I really am firmly against Largent in here, everybody else looks about the same.
Yeah, 12-1 on the morning line. You're going to get Romero Mirage handling that inside post. I think the logical horse when the smoke clears is going to be the number 7, Voodoo Zip, who broke his maiden here at this distance back in 2021. Stretches out. He rallied to defeat those 80 optional claimers here, going 6 furlongs up at Belmont for Christophe Comont. Christoph is good with this layoff, 21%. He's got Junior Alvarado negotiating this about 7.5 furlong distance. So there is reason to believe, there's proof that this horse can run well going around 2 turns right here at Gulfstream Park.
Yeah, he's a huge threat in here. You could argue with, especially with Largent, with the post. You could argue Voodoo Zip's a horse to beat. Christoph off the layoff. You mentioned it. He's 21%. We don't have to worry about that. And I think you make a good point, too, because you got to dig a little bit. You say, he's a sprinter. This is going to be tough for him. No, he's right at home going 2 turns. He's been in the exacta 5 out of 6 times here, too.
The number 2, Freedom Matters, is back locally after his 2-race win streak ended when he shipped up to Tampa and finished 5th against those state-bred runners in the $100,000 Turf Classic. It's Seffi Joseph Jr., Edwin Gonzalez. This is a 6-time local winner.
Yeah, exactly. And, he's been in the 16 of 21 in the money here on our turf course. He's drawn inside. That's a good thing. He's got tactical speed. That's a good thing, too. The other thing about this race, you better have some racing luck, too.
Yeah, you got some racing luck. You got such a great race with all this tons of back class. Race number 6 this afternoon is a 1-mile allowance optional claimer for fillies and master year-olds and up. The optional tag is $25,000. Kicks off our final pick 4. 6 in the field. I want to hear about your number 4 in here, Grandbaby, who is 8-1, I believe, on the morning line.
This is a stab. Admittedly, it's a stab, but Amador Sanchez and Hector Barrios have made stabs before and popped, and they're crafty. He's a sharp trainer. This is a big drop in class out of those championship meet races. And I think there is a abundance of speed in this race to set him up, especially down inside. Gulfstream and Flying Alletha. Something might have to give between the two of them. Maybe Grandbaby on the drop. It's the lightest that she's been in a while. You know what? Maybe she wakes up and swoops him.
Chilean bred. I did go with the chalk in here on top. Gulfstream is stepping up the competition after posting her 2nd consecutive open length victory when defeating 12-5 state-bred optional claiming go in this 1-mile distance. MSCL Jaramillo in the saddle this afternoon. Boy, there's a lot to like off those 2 performances. Luis Saez was aboard 2 starts back. Jose Ortiz in the last one. And now you're getting one of our top riders, MSCL Jaramillo, trying to get the old 3-peat.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to knock her, but, she walked the dog last time against Florida breds, and now she's in open company, and with Flying Alletha to her outside and Paco aboard, There's no free trip today on the lead. She's going to have to run hard. She's going to have to earn it. And I'm not saying she can't, but again, it's going to be a huge underlaid price in here. It's not a terrible spot to me to maybe just think outside the box a little bit, as much respect as I have. And the 2 races off the long layoff for Victor have been out of this world.
The number 3, Flying Albito, who you alluded to, was given some time to regroup after setting the pace and weakening late. Finished 4th, was at this level and distance. It was back in February. Cam Gambilotti ready for the return with a bullet half-mile workout over this track in 46-2, which is the best time of 45 workers at the distance. So this horse, you know, is going to be in that first flight, or you would think this horse is going to be in that first flight with Paco Lopez, certainly an aggressive rider.
And I'll tell you what, if Beth Stream, you know, comes unglued a little bit, entering the far turn because Flying Alita's been pressing her the whole way, she might be 6 clear on that far turn because they are going to be motoring early here.
And the number 6 horse in here, Big Bad Diva, is in for the 25 tag in this optional claim. It goes back to the main track. Failed to fire against those starter optional claimers going a mile on the turf. Safi's good, 28%, so they're about with the turf to dirt move. Maybe this one grabs a share in here. What's this one on the morning line? 4-2-1. So a good race. We'll see how it plays out. It's going to be some speed in there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Race number 7 this afternoon is 1 mile claimer. These are 3-year-olds of 4 and up, non-winners of 2 races in life. And you haven't heard this much, but scratch the number 3 in here, Spuntacular. So not many scratches. That was my top pick in the afternoon, so I bumped up the number 2, Democracy. But let's hear about Frolic Man first.
Well, it's a big scratch because the confirmed speed is now out of the race. Right. And I picked Frolic Man because with Paco aboard to the outside of Spuntacular, I kind of figured he's going to just follow Spuntacular. We'll get first run. Now I'm kind of wondering if Frolic Man's the lone speed in here, because you look at that race 2 back on the main track, and it was a sharp sprint for Danny Hertak, who had himself quietly a nice championship meet. Now we stretch out. I don't really see anyone running with this guy early, Ronnie, and his dirt races have been pretty sharp. They were against good company in fast races. You know, Paco takes the initiative early. Maybe we're on a send mission and we don't come back.
The number 2, Democracy, is dropping into this 20 condition claimer after returning from the layoff. Finished that slow starting 3rd against those 35 2 lifetime claimers. That was going 6.5 for Antonio Sano, Junior Alvarado handling the geldings. This is the first ever dirt race at a mile.
Yeah, this is the horse to beat. There's no doubt about that. He's coming out of better races. He's coming out of faster races. He's been running faster. Antonio, a little snake bit at the meet, but the horses are running well. We have Junior here. You know, this horse is clearly they're going to have to beat him.
The number 1, black belt. I actually tried to get a black belt.
I find that hard to believe.
I did, and I got a purple eye instead of a black belt, I'll tell you that much. Boom, boom.
Well,
this one dropping into this condition claim, first start since finishing 5th against Tougher. That was a 25 starter allowance. Going 6 in February, Mr. Cassie. He's good with the horses stretching out in distance.
I was looking for Mount Sinai to see if he's coming up. Or not.
I used that with joke there.
Okay, yeah. Black belt's fine. We get Edwin. I mean, you know, he's having a heck of a meet, and he got to know this horse last time. We're 2nd off the layoff. That's got to bode well, too. In the past, he's shown a little speed, and I would think, again, with this scratch, it's Spuntacular, it's probably going to group this, you know, keep this group together a little bit early on, and black belt could be in the right spot. The Pink Silks of Gary Barger, I always say you got to take note there, too.
Race 8 this afternoon, 5 furlongs on the turf. Starter optional claim, a 3-year-old starter for 50 or less, or the optional tag of 50. Scratch the 1, Frosted Armor in here. And I'll start it off here with the number 6, Malniloquent, who's making her first start since leading every step of the way to defeat 50 maiden optional claimers here in February for Wesley Ward. He's good with this type of layoff. He's 26, 28%, and he's 28% winning consecutive races. Paco Lopez atop this daughter of American Pharaoh. You know, Wesley doesn't win that many races here in South Florida, which is, you know, you wouldn't think that. But I just was impressed with this horse's performance, and I'm going back to give this one a shot.
Yeah, she ran very, very well. You know, she's going to step up in class today. She has the benefit of drawing outside Living Water, who is equally fast, and they're going to know each other early and know each other often. She's a 3-year-old filly that Wesley's going to run in this spot, but we've talked about that. A couple fillies in here, too. Our girl's Worth It as well. And I think she's a player. I just think this rise in class could be a little tricky for her.
Yeah, you went to the outside with the number 7 horse, Baron Sesco. This one from Antonio Sano. This horse was in the Texas Glitter. Going to get Lasix today.
Well, the Lasix is big, and then, you know, what I'm thinking is just a pace battle between Living Water and Magniloquent, who something might have to give. Big Invasion for Christoph is so freaky good, and Lucci for Wesley Ward is pretty good in his self. This is a huge class drop for Barone Sesco.
Well, Living Water, the number 5, is dropping to this level. He stalked the pace. He finished third. Oh, he was only 47-1 that day against those 75 optional claimers going 5 on the turf for Rohan Crichton.
That's impossible, right? 47-1 for Rohan. Let's take a look at a stat for him, too, because I think we probably, we think of Rohan and we think main track, but he's pretty good at turf sprints as well, 27% in the past year right here. The 47-1 is long gone. This horse is fast. And wouldn't shock me at all if he forgets to stop, especially if the Ward runner can't handle the class rise.
And you alluded to the number 3, our girl's worth it. Go fourth behind the Miliquint, 2 starts back, reduced the rivalry, set the pace, hold on to break our maiden. By a whisker that day for Eddie Plesa Jr. with his go-to rider, Edgar Perez, in the saddle.
Yeah, and she went 44-3 last time, so you're kind of picking up what I'm putting down in here. We could have a fall apart in the lane.
The race number 9 this afternoon, 6 furlong maiden optional claimer for 3-year-olds and up $40,000. Scratch the 2 Reddington, a couple of geldings in here, listed as geldings, the 9 and the number 10 horse in here. And as I mentioned, got my long shot today, 5 Charging Arrows now in the Ronnie Spatz barn. Colt debuts locally. We're going to go back and visit these horses at Tampa. As I mentioned, it's a key race that produced a trio of next out winners. This one, I just thought the number 8, you're going to see Charging Arrow turning for home. She moves to the inside, and I just thought finished a really good third in here. There's not really that much to see. I just thought this horse would run well. And there you see the number 8 horse. And I just thought it was a real good performance by her. Boy, and I really respect the job that Ronnie Spatz does. And you can see this horse just would not give it up on the inside until the very end. So coming here, coming out of a key race, I thought maybe with a little bit of a price, Miguel Vasquez, we'll see how this horse runs this afternoon.
And the rail is not very often the place to be at Tampa, too, so that even flatters her even more. Ronnie's been on such an extended tear. The other thing I like, too, about this daughter will take charge, that was, that was his first dirt race, and it was much better than anything he did, at least in terms of figures. He can move up again.
And, yeah, that was 5.5 furlongs. Of course, this is 6. But you have the number 9, Aztec. You're going with Kathleen and Paco.
Yeah, and they're so good together. 45% overall, which is crazy. And 31% here at Gulfstream. A firster by Kozan out of a Corinthian mare. There's several solid works here. Some of them are very, very snappy. Paco from an outside attack post. I like that, too.
And what about the number 7, Trusting Bond, is the son of Keen Ice, debuting for Mr. Louis Russell?
Yeah, so we got to show this stat, too. We got to be fair, because I showed the stat earlier that Louis 30%, and here he is here, 30-99, but he's just 1 for 8 here with firster. So if you're going to beat him, this might be the day. The works are off the page here, but Ronnie, this is a 3-year-old debuting son of Keen Ice, and I just got to think 6 furlongs is a little sharp. Let's check him out maybe later in the Royal Palm Meet, going a little bit further.
MSC Al Jaramillo will be handling that horse, so that's how we see the 9-race card. But we have, as we do each and every day, our lightning round. And, boy, it is getting awful close to the first jewel of the Triple Crown. And we had simplification out there today.
Yeah, and you can see it there, getting serious. And he's tuning up for a run in Louisville. And, boy, he looks good. And Antonio's got him better than ever. I heard him on the phone with Ed Gray in the office, just beaming about this work. And what we got, 59 and change, galloped out 11-4, Ronnie?
Yeah, and finished the 1 mile in 137.52. And Junior Alvarado was aboard the last couple of times. He was very impressed with this horse. This one just scooting right along.
Streaking home under the line. Should have one more serious work next Friday, I believe, is what I heard Antonio say. So all systems go, and I'm not being a homer. I think our horses, especially White Abario and Simplification, are going to do good justice of it.
Yeah, I think they're going to run exceptionally well. Can't wait to start handicapping that race down the road. But we got a really good race in the Grade 1 Apple Blossom coming up.
This is cool, right? Because we saw Cece here winning the Princess Rooney at 1 turn last year. And, of course, Fausto Gutierrez brought Latruska back to win here earlier in the meet. We'll take a look at that, just laughing at this field in the Royal Delta.
Yeah, just cruising there, and you could see it was 1-9 in the afternoon. It could have been lower, but we don't go lower than that. Just so, it just was actually a work. work.
Yeah, public work, ears pricked, just ready to roll, and it'll be exciting. I just think it's great that they brought her back. You know, a divisional champion last year, and you don't see that often, and now she's 6 years old, and you're going to tell me she's not better than ever after watching that?
I've been watching some of the things. She's just been cruising there, getting ready for this race, so it's going to run very well. And, you know, as we mentioned, the second leg of the Triple Crown is all about first bet, and that is the Preakness Stakes.
And so this is kind of cool. We did this yesterday, and we'll talk about it throughout in the build-up. You can take these sunrise tours during Preakness week. Go to the website. Go to any of our websites. It's all out there, and this looks like it's a really, really fun, kind of give you a different perspective.
Yeah, you get to see how the workings are, and if they take you by the stakes barn, it's so great. It's in the right out there in the front, and all the horses that round, and the Kentucky Derby winner usually is in it, so you get to see that, and you got to have tickets to get in.
That's exactly it, and we're going to remind you of that quite a bit too, because Preakness 147 is going to be here before you know it. Check the website. Tickets are on sale now. I've done it many, many times. It's a heck of a lot of fun.
You know, we got to do one of these days, show what the infield, all the acts that they're going to have in there. They got some really nice acts in there. I personally don't know any of them, but I know they're going to be good. I've been there numerous times and watched that infield just hop. It's a lot of fun. It's good that that's all back this year.
I couldn't agree more, and that's just one of the best days of racing all year long.
Well, we're done. We'll turn it over to Pete Aiello, give you the scratches, jockey changes, and Brian and I will be here all day. Good luck.
The Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance is really the vehicle for the transition for our racehorses coming off the track into a second career and safe environment for these horses when they're done racing. I've been passionate about racehorses my whole life, animals in general, and without the TAA to provide that oversight, there would be a big void in terms of making sure that we have this ongoing safe environment for our off-the-track racehorses. I'm excited about the undertaking and excited about working with our board and our team at the TAA to continue the wonderful progress that has been made. So I'm very excited about what the future holds.